Hello, my friends. It is so good to have you here with me today. Pull up a chair, find a comfortable place, and take one quiet breath with me. Now imagine a man who has everything: power, wealth, soldiers, palaces, an entire empire at his feet. He could live only for pleasure. He could take what he wanted. He could forget the pain of ordinary people. But every morning, this man does something surprising. He sits alone with a small notebook, and he writes simple words to himself. Be patient, be kind, do what is right, even when it is hard. He is not writing for fame. He is not writing for history. He is writing to train his own heart. So who was this man? And why do people still read his private notebook, almost 2,000 years later? His name was Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, and a lifelong student of wisdom. Today, we are going to walk together into his world. We are going to discover how a quiet boy became the most powerful man on earth, what he wrote alone at night by the light of a lamp, and what his words can still teach us today. So, make yourself comfortable and let the story begin. Let us travel back almost 2,000 years to the city of Rome. The year is 121 AD. Rome is not just a city. It is the heart of an empire. Its streets are crowded with soldiers, merchants, servants, teachers, and wealthy families dressed in fine clothes. You can hear horses on stone roads. You can smell bread rising from the markets. You can see temples reaching toward the sky. And inside this great, noisy world, a baby boy is born. His name is Marcus. Marcus comes from a wealthy and respected family. They have power. They have important connections. They live close to the center of Roman life. But his childhood is not perfect. When Marcus is only 3 years old, his father dies, so he is raised mostly by his mother and his grandfather. They give him safety, love, and the best education Rome can offer. From a young age, Marcus is different. He is quiet. He is serious. He likes to listen more than speak. While other children play loudly, Marcus watches the world carefully, and slowly, his thoughtful mind begins to grow. Now here is where the story becomes interesting. As Marcus grows older, his education becomes the center of his life. He studies language, history, and law. He learns how to speak clearly in public. In Rome, education is not only about knowing facts, it is about becoming a better person. Marcus listens carefully to every teacher. He works hard. He does not waste his time. But one teacher changes him more than all the others. This teacher introduces Marcus to a way of thinking called Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy. A philosophy is a way of understanding the world and how to live in it. And Stoicism teaches a simple but powerful idea. We cannot control everything that happens around us. We cannot control bad luck. We cannot control other people. We cannot control pain. But we can control ourselves. We can choose patience. We can choose kindness. We can choose courage. We can choose what is right. For Marcus, this is not just a lesson in a classroom. It becomes a path for his whole life. But what was happening inside the imperial palace? Far away from Marcus's quiet studies, the emperor of Rome, Hadrian, is thinking about the future. He has power. He has armies. He has cities, roads, and laws under his command. But he does not have a son to follow him. So Hadrian begins to watch the young men of Rome carefully. He looks for someone intelligent, someone calm, someone serious enough to carry the weight of an empire. And again, his eyes return to Marcus. Marcus is still young. He is not a soldier seeking glory. He is not a loud man chasing power. He is a thoughtful boy who loves books, teachers, and wisdom. Hadrian sees something rare in him, so he makes a plan. He chooses a man named Antoninus Pius to become the next emperor. But there is one condition. Antoninus must adopt Marcus as his son. And just like that, Marcus's life changes forever. The quiet student of philosophy is now on the road to the Roman throne. Marcus has not chosen power, but power has chosen him. So what happened next? For nearly 20 years, Marcus lives beside Emperor Antoninus Pius. He is not emperor yet. He is still learning. Every day, he watches how Rome is governed. He listens during meetings. He studies laws, decisions, conflicts, and the needs of millions of people. This is not fast learning. It is slow learning, patient learning, the kind of learning that shapes a person from the inside. During these years, Marcus also builds a family. He marries Faustina, and together they have children. But life is not always gentle. Some of their children die young, and Marcus feels deep sorrow. Still, he returns to his philosophy. He reminds himself to stay calm, to keep going, and to face pain with courage. And my friend, this is also how we learn. Slowly, patiently, one sentence at a time. New stories arrive every week. In the year 161 AD, Emperor Antoninus Pius dies peacefully. And now, the throne of Rome is waiting. Marcus Aurelius is 40 years old. For many years, he has studied. He has listened. He has watched how power works. But now, he can no longer stand beside the emperor. He has to become the emperor. The eyes of the whole Roman Empire turn toward him. Millions of people are now under his care. Soldiers, farmers, merchants, children, families, an empire larger than most people can imagine. But Marcus does something surprising. He does not choose to rule alone. Instead, he asks his adopted brother, Lucius Verus, to rule beside him as co-emperor. This has never happened before in Rome. To many people, power means control. But to Marcus, power means responsibility. He understands that Rome is too large, too complex, and too heavy for one man's shoulders. So from the very beginning, Marcus shows a different kind of leadership. Not proud, not selfish, but humble, thoughtful, and willing to share. But Rome does not give Marcus a peaceful beginning. Soon after he becomes emperor, danger comes from the east. The Parthian Empire attacks Roman lands. Marcus sends Lucius Verus to lead the army. The war is long and difficult, but Rome finally wins. Yet victory brings something terrible home. The soldiers return with a deadly disease, a plague. A plague is a dangerous illness that spreads quickly from person to person. It moves from city to city. It enters homes, markets, and army camps. People are afraid. Families suffer. The empire grows weak and full of sorrow. Marcus could have hidden inside his palace, but he does not. He works. He organizes help. He keeps the government moving. He tries to protect his people, even when the world around him feels uncertain. This is where his philosophy becomes real. Stoicism is no longer just words in a book. It is courage in action, calm in fear, duty in pain. And then comes another challenge. Far from Rome, On the cold northern borders, Germanic tribes begin pushing against the empire. They are strong, they are brave, and they want land, safety, and a future for their own people. So Marcus has to leave the comfort of Rome. He travels north, to the lands we now call Germany and Austria. There, he lives among soldiers, tents, mud, cold winds, and fear. He does not enjoy war. He does not speak of battle as something beautiful. To him, war is a heavy duty, a painful task. But he believes he must protect the people under his care. And this is the moment that makes Marcus Aurelius different from every other emperor. Even there, in the noise of military camps, Marcus continues to write. At night, when the world grows quiet, he opens his notebook. By the light of a small lamp, far from Rome, far from comfort, he writes reminders to himself. Be patient. Do not complain. Accept what you cannot change. Do what is right. Remember that life is short. He writes about anger and tells himself not to hold it. He writes about fame and reminds himself it disappears like smoke. He writes about death and says it is natural, not something to fear. He writes about other people and tells himself to be gentle, because everyone is fighting a battle he cannot see. These are not grand ideas written for an audience. They are small, quiet words written by a tired man trying to stay good in a difficult world. Marcus never plans for anyone to read these words. They are private. They are honest. They are a conversation with his own heart. But after his death, these writings are saved. Today, we know them as meditations. And nearly 2,000 years later, people around the world still read them when they feel lost, afraid, or tired. A Roman emperor's private notebook has become a guide for ordinary people everywhere. But Marcus Aurelius is not perfect, and this is important to remember. Sometimes, when we hear about great people, we imagine them as heroes without mistakes. But Marcus is human. He has limits. He lives in a difficult world, with ideas and fears very different from ours. During his rule, some early Christians are treated badly in the Roman Empire. Some are punished because of their beliefs. This part of Marcus's story is painful to look at. It does not fit easily beside his beautiful words about kindness, justice, and wisdom. But maybe that is why it matters. It reminds us that wisdom is not something a person owns forever. Wisdom must be practiced again and again, every single day. Marcus also faces pain inside his own family. His son, Commodus, is very different from him. Marcus loves discipline and calm thinking. Commodus loves pleasure, power, and attention. Still, Marcus chooses him as the next emperor. Many people later question this decision. Marcus tries to do what he thinks is right. But even wise people can make choices with painful results. By the late 170s, Marcus Aurelius is tired. He has carried the weight of Rome for many years. He has faced wars. He has faced plague. He has lost people he loves. And still, he continues to work. His body grows weak. He is often sick, but he does not leave his duty behind. In his final years, Marcus returns to the northern frontier. The Germanic tribes are still pushing against Rome's borders. Marcus believes he must finish what he started. Far from the warm streets of Rome, he becomes ill for the last time. But he is not afraid. For many years, he has trained his mind to accept life and death with calmness. In March of the year 180 AD, Marcus Aurelius dies. He is 58 years old. Rome mourns deeply. The empire has lost more than an emperor. It has lost a leader who truly tried to be good. And so, my friends, we have reached the end of our journey. We have walked beside Marcus Aurelius from his quiet childhood in Rome, through years of study, power, war, sickness, and loss. He was not perfect, but he never stopped trying. And maybe that is the deepest lesson of his life. We do not need to control everything. We do not need to win every battle. We do not need to become perfect people. But each day, we can choose something better. We can choose patience instead of anger. We can choose courage instead of fear. We can choose kindness, even when life is difficult. Marcus was the most powerful man in the world, but every night, he sat alone with a notebook and tried to become a better person, not for the public, not for history, for himself. The notebook is small, the words are simple, but the questions they ask are as large as the sky. What kind of person do I want to be? How should I treat other people? What matters most in this short life? These are not easy questions, but they are the right ones. And they do not belong only to emperors. They belong to every person who has ever sat quietly and wondered how to live a good life. The stones of Rome still stand. The notebook still speaks. And somewhere, right now, someone is reading those words for the first time and feeling a little less alone. And you, my friend, are also a student today. You are here because you are learning English, and learning a language is not easy. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes courage. Some days are hard. Some days the words do not come easily, but you keep going. And that is what matters. Every time you listen to a story like this one, you are doing more than learning words. You are connecting with history. You are traveling through time. You are opening your mind to new ideas and new worlds. Marcus Aurelius trained his mind a little every day. And that is exactly what you are doing right now. That is the power of language. That is the power of story. If this story stayed with you, I would love to hear from you. Write a comment and tell me, what do you do to stay calm when life is difficult? Or if you prefer, write one simple sentence: I choose wisdom. And if you are not subscribed yet, I invite you to join our community. Every week, we travel together through history, through language, through life. You are not alone on this journey. We are walking together. Thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and thank you for being here. Until next time, take care of yourself.